Hello, everybody. We are live. This is Dr. Leland. You are probably wondering what is happening. Why is there a live on at night? We normally do it in the day because I have a special guest. Okay. Okay. So I actually rebrand and just wanted to show you. There's going to be more to come for sure, but Level Up Academy by Doc Leland podcast. I'm featured in Mentors Collective, LA Weekly, Soul Essence from Jennifer Sharp, or our magazine coming up soon, Feed Spot for podcasting, shout out FW for podcasting, and of course, babyboomer.org. None of these are my sponsors. These are people that featured me in their site. So let's go ahead and roll our intro. Welcome to Level Up Academy podcast, where we explore a diverse set of skills that can be applied across various industries and professions. Each episode will deep dive into the world of transferable skills, discussing topics like communication, problem solving, critical thinking, and more. Join us as we speak with experts in different fields and share stories of individuals who have successfully transferred their skills from one industry to another. Whether you're a recent grad, a mid-career professional, or someone looking to make a career change, this podcast is for you. So sit back, relax, and let's discover how you can leverage your existing skills to excel in any industry. Welcome to Level Up Academy podcast. This is your host, Dr. Leland, a serial educator, an opportunities designer, and a compassionate leader.
Are you a career student eager to learn new skills and make your mark on the world? Or are you a professional seeking to advance your career and unlock your potential? You need to be equipped with effective soft skills like communication, problem solving, teamwork, and more. The Level Up Academy by Doc Leland bridges the gap between education and employment through transferable skills training. Get the soft skills you need to be more effective at work.
What? I love those. Welcome, guys. Who do we have here? Hey, Trevor, what's up? Jennifer, hello. I know you're watching because it's your time, huh? It's not so late at 3 a.m. So hello. Look at what we have here. Trevor, right? Hotness and Leisure over here. What's up, sister? I'm not able to stay on, but wanted to say hello. If you guys don't know who Janice is, she's an inventor of Tausi, Tausi. It is an amazing pillowcase that basically supports your back of your neck, and I love it so much. Check her out and check her profile. Timothy, brother, what's up? Sister from Islamabad is here. Amber, hello, North Carolina, midnight. What are you doing? I'm glad you're here though, but I'm so glad you're doing that. Wendy, what's up, sister? Soft skills are important. It is. It's been a hot minute there, Dr. Lou Anderson. Hi, Eugene. How are you? All right. So, right, seriously, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to show you a couple things, but first, I want to show off something. I don't know if I can actually remove this really quick. Stop the screen. Okay. I'm going to show you something really cool. So I belong to creatives group, I should say. And I can't draw to save my life if you don't know that already. So I'm going to share that because I'm just not gifted like that. But okay, I want you to share this. You guys see this? Natalie Villeneuve. I'm sorry. I'm probably butchering your last name. Natalie V. Okay. I love her. I mean, when I saw this, I was pretty emotional. I think I came from an audio room and I was pretty emotional. You know, I'm an only child, didn't have any sisters. And when she shared this, immediately I'm like, I want it. I want it. I want it. And I just want it. And because it makes me feel so good that I have found sisterhood in LinkedIn of all places, right? Another sister today is coming up. That is one of the thing. It's like, wow, I found all of these beautiful people and I feel like my heart represented this. So check that out. That's actually a painting she did. I think it's in canvas. I don't know. I have to verify that. I'm probably lying right now for saying that. But look, I made it into a shirt, guys. Look. Oh, I'm disappearing. But look, I'm so excited. So that's the most creative art I can do for you. So if you have art there, I can make you a shirt. I'm gonna make it into a cup and a notebook and a sticker. But anyway, yeah, I love it so much. I just wanted to share that because I think that she is an amazing artist, right? And I also wanted to make sure that you guys know about my 50 inspirational connections project if you don't know already. Basically what it is, and there's so much more information, so I'm gonna just give you guys. I think the link is on the details for here, but basically it's on the YouTube. This is my YouTube channel. It is right here. If you see this, your impact, your legacy, that is the video, and it will give you more information about it. If you go to my website, it also will give you more information about it. So if you go to lua.leland.com, and there will be saying 50 inspirational connections. Officially, you have 29 days, 0 hours, 35 minutes, and 37 seconds left to the due date. Okay. I know I love those counters. Very accurate. So Nicole and I have an audio room. However, I won't be there on Sunday because I'm celebrating my daughter's graduation tomorrow all the way through the weekend, guys. So I won't be there on Sunday. Please support Nicole. And we have a special guest. I'll announce to you guys tomorrow who the special guest is, for sure, or maybe after this show tonight. But three things. Okay, you just go to the video. There's a LinkedIn video, 17 minutes of your life. I promise you, you will be inspired. I'm hoping. Fill out the application. There's only 5 questions. And then send your 5-minute video at lualevelup.leland.com. There is no like, do I have to pay? No, no, no. There's no payment, nothing. What I'm trying to do with our community is level up everybody, right? Even Donald Cohen, who does 7 days a week of featuring people, he said, I can, max, I can do, 14 people a week. And this is my way of elevating our community, right? Our amazing community, 50 people at a time. This is my first iteration to see. Someone also asked me, how are you going to feature it? I'm going to be featuring you on not only on my website, which you will see, your picture will be here along with your bio. And this website has SEO from all of the features from LA Weekly, shout out DFW, babyboomer.org, all of that. Actually, my SEO is attached to this. So you will be here. Okay. So when someone Googles your name, it will be here. All of your videos will also be here. So make sure you don't curse. For those of you who are like, I'm just going to let 1 or 2 go. Nope. Because it's going to go over here. And then also you will be featured in my global summit, which is in October, second week of October. So it will also be there. And then we're going to have a panel podcast in my podcast, which is on 6 continents and 70 plus nations and countries, as a panel and talk about your experience. So you'll be blasted everywhere. It will also be on my YouTube channel to be featured in here. So I put literally 50 people in here, right? And there's 2 in here. But you will also get a little marketing thing that will have your picture in it, and it will say 50 inspirational connections winner. And you can put it in your website. You can put it in anywhere that you want. Okay. So that is the 50 inspirational connections. If you have any questions, ask Nicole or myself. So enough of that. Are you guys ready to find out? Oh, I'm so excited. I know she's excited too. Believe me. I asked her, I'm like, are you excited? Lisa! That was a long applause. We really love having you.
That was. Thank you so much. I didn't
How are
expect the drum
you?
roll and the applause.
I know. I'm like, oh, how are you doing?
I am excellent, thank you. And just sitting back in the, I guess, the green room of this little moment. You are just, you're like fireworks. Seriously, there's so much going on. And you know, the most beautiful thing about what you've just showcased with the 50 inspirational leaders is that you just keep giving. Like, you're here to help these people get exposure for all of their greatness. And hello, all you beautiful people. I can see your messages coming up. So thank you so much for being online. For those in the Northern Hemisphere, I know that it's very, very late. So here we are down under. So go the Aussies. But I'm so honored that you, I went out there. I just went into your DMs and said, girl, we need to talk. And here we are. So I'm so grateful for the opportunity.
Yes. Wow. Raquel, you're still up. And Paul, what are you all? Well, Paul might, I don't even know. Paul, I don't even know what state you are in. Whoops. I know sis Raquel is in Texas. So it's like 2 hours. It's like, what are you doing up? Most people have kids probably are up. But yeah, this is so exciting. We had a little coffee chat. I'm like, Lisa, tell me about yourself. And I just sat there. I'm like, wow, amazing. I want to elevate you. I want you to be the queen of the day for me. So that was really cool. Let's get right to it. I want to ask you, think back 20 years ago and find within your timeline some of the significant changes in your life that got you here where you are today.
Oh gosh. You said you were not going to prep me with any questions and just lay it on. So that's a big one. 20 years ago. Well, what was I? 30. 30 something. Oh, well, that was probably the biggest no, there's been many giant transitions of my life. That was when I was so sick and very disabled with chronic pain and injury. At 33, I was on my second marriage, which was a complete disaster. I was facing bankruptcy because I went guarantor with my investment properties for his small business. I could no longer work because I'd been chopped up by surgery, I don't know, 15 or 16 times by that stage. I had 5 autoimmune diseases. So that was 20 years ago. Yes. And I was like at the bottom of the barrel and thinking, girl, there's only one way to go, and that's up. So just scream out to the universe for help and answers. And I got one. And that moved me into really the pathway of what I am in now. I've been an entrepreneur for 20 years, predominantly in holistic wellness. So the complete nutrition, fitness, mindset basket. And that has just evolved into my absolute passion of helping people rewrite the unconscious patterns that they're stuck in. And because I've come from a very traumatic past, very abusive past, and just helping people, even just with the simple things of get healthy. They are so entrenched in running on the unconscious patterns that they don't even have any control of, that they can get a fantastic health result and a road bump happens in their life and they bounce exactly back to where they were 3 months ago, 6 months ago, 12 months ago, and just it all goes out the window. And so that wasn't good enough for me. I know through what I've been able to do personally with literally reinvent myself several times, that we have an infinite potential, unlimited power to literally create a new you. And so that is now where my passion is, of helping people change their belief systems, helping them rewrite their life story of who they should be, not the life they're living. I'm getting very passionate, as you can tell. The life they're living based on what they think everybody else should be, is expecting of them, plus the the set of patterns that they have grown up in, and which makes us all. It's a framework of who we are, but it can be changed. And so that's my mission now, to do the hard work. And I've got my brain here, and that's the next conversation, isn't it? You're on mute, honey.
Of course I am. I'm like, of course I am. No, I was actually laughing. I'm like, of course you brought your brain. I'm like, what brain? What? And she's like, this brain. I'm like, oh, that brain. Okay, got it. She walks around the house with a brain. Why not? Well, wow. Actually, that is so cool because I think I've seen a lot of the people that are here tonight, actually, they've gone through so much adversity in their life and they kind of step back and say, I'm going to think about what is going on and reflect on it. And some of us can have that self awareness, but some of us really do need support.
Yeah.
And it's not to say that you're weak or you're this or you're that. It's just that it's your makeup, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think the hardest part, even including me, is asking for help, right? It's really hard. So, my next question is, what does it mean to have a strong mind? And why is it important in today's world?
Okay. And I bought the brain because I just thought that's sort of part of who I am. But it was so funny that you have this question. I want to say, you are not your brain. This is just a piece of hardware. But unfortunately, we have about 70,000 thoughts a day. And about 90% of those are just the redundant trash that we keep replaying over and over and over and over and over and over, even on an unconscious level that we don't even know all this self-talk's going on. That it literally is talking to our body and giving it all the wrong signals. So it's a feedback system. And so what happens is when we have trauma, tragedy, grown up in adversity, suffer extreme illness, have a really bad accident, it really degrades the body. And so the brain is always going into fight and flight and survival mode and trying to bring balance and harmony. But unfortunately, in today's world, as you said, why is it important in today's world is that we don't shut ourselves off from the 24/7 going on. And this is now part of our anatomy, which is very, very dangerous on many levels. But we don't have enough time to go into that.
That's another topic for another day.
That is another topic.
Yeah.
I could talk underwater with a mouthful of cement for days on end about all of this. But I'll try and keep it really simple. Basically, the brain is built for survival. And the first 35 years of our life is our programming, whether we like it or not, of everything that comes in from when we're in utero, of what your mother's health and lifestyle was like, whether her life was violent and traumatic or substance abuse or beautiful, peace, harmony, loving family. All of that is affecting you while you're growing in mum's tummy. And what it's affecting is our gene expression on our cells, basically like of the personality of who we're going to be. So what happens is that our school, our church, our culture, our food, our environment, our social media addiction, everything coming in basically affects it affects our wiring of how our brain talks to our body, whether it's in fight or flight or whether it's in rest and digest. You've got your two different types of nervous systems. But what is the big thing is that because we are in such a fast-paced, really over-dramatized world, and there's a lot of people are wearing a mask because they're trying to have this image in the world of all of these high expectations, but inside they're quietly dying. So the body's under constant stress. And eventually that throttle is turned on hard of the survival mode. And that is degrading everything about our whole body's operation, our hormones, our health, the way we sleep, the way we think, the way we interact with people. And everything is energy. You are energy, my dear. You are that. That's it. You just all the time, which is beautiful.
Oh,
And
that's so
and
fun.
that's not a mask. Like, that's you. And
Yeah.
that's the beautiful thing about it, is it's the authentic you. And so when we are deep inside, not living our authentic self, this is a great thing to parlay into. And the turmoil this goes through of trying to constantly fight you living unfulfilled, but you're hardwired in this belief system and patterns that we've grown up in. It's just destructive. And so to develop a strong mind is about changing the input. And that is with everything. It's our exposure. We're burning out our it's our reward center. Our dopamine system is just turned on constantly. And what happens then is that we never get satisfied, because it's like this pouring out of dopamine all the time, that we don't have these little reward moments. The body is constantly searching for it. So we're addicted to this thing. We're addicted to drinking at night, or eating
Like
that
caffeine.
food, or having too
Ooh.
much caffeine. We won't go there.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. I do wanna talk about Amber, because I think it is definitely your topic here. What are your suggestions for rewiring our negative neural paths in recognizing a pause before fight or flight kicks in?
Yeah. Oh, that's such a great question, Amber. There's a real process involved, and the most immediate reaction that we can do is to literally remove ourselves from the threat. And sometimes that's really, really difficult, because when your instant firing stress response it's unconscious, like it just comes, and then either we say the wrong thing, we do the wrong thing, our body just goes into this terrible distressed,
Or you freeze.
or you freeze. Yeah, true. Like, there's lots of different types of fight and flight. But just what is very, very powerful, the most immediate thing you can do, even if you can't get away from the threat, is to engage the power of breath. I know that sounds silly, and I don't mean, just fall into the lotus position and start chanting Om.
You could. And then the
And you
people are like,
could.
what
That
is
will
happening
that
here?
will
I'm like,
stop the
I'm
moment
channeling
anyway. It's just
positive
like,
energy.
what the bleep?
Yeah. You're like, what is happening? Yeah.
So,
Sometimes, that is so true. Sometimes people do weird things and you're not used to it, and that actually stop them from their tracks, right? You're like, yeah.
that's it. It's just like, hang on, I have to engage my breathing process. Give me 2 minutes. But,
You right?
you can actually engage that while all this is going on, because you can actually have a conversation with yourself. Right, this is the moment that you have to actually deep breath in through your nose, 2, 3, 4, hold, 2, 3, 4, exhale, 2, like you're counting in your mind, you're doing this. And that, if you do that for 90 seconds to at least 2 minutes, even while like there's crap going on everywhere and you are just shaking in your boots, your nervous system will actually kick in to bring your body down a little bit. Okay. And so that, yes, yes, exactly. so that's really important. Is that something that everybody can do unless you've got your dukes up and you're trying to defend yourself? It's pretty
That's
hard to
me all
engage
the
in.
time. I'm like, what is happening? Like, even when I'm sleeping and my bulldog comes in, I'm like, start kicking. I'm like, that's not good. That's my always my moment, because I think when I grew up in a environment where there's always death and war, so we're
Yeah.
always ready to get out or fight. And
Yes.
so even today, when people come close, I was like, okay, what do you want? You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
that's how I am. So I'm glad you said that. I think one of my girlfriends actually said that she's a psychiatrist, and she said, rewiring the brain after trauma is a very complex process,
It is.
and it typically needs like support of trained professionals, right? Therapists, counselors, exercise. But she said, her general idea, and I took notes, was recognizing and acknowledging the trauma. Because when you think that you forgot the trauma, I don't want to think about it, I don't want to get traumatized again. She said your subconscious mind actually is more traumatized than ever because you're forcing it to
Yes.
delete, even though it's
Yes.
not, and that emotions is still there bouncing up and down. So she's like, it's important for you to acknowledge it, accept that you have experienced a trauma,
Yeah.
recognize is the first step on addressing its impact in your life, right?
Yes.
And then of course, second thing is seek professional help.
Yes.
And then also try to create a safe environment for you. Like if you're still in an abusive relationship right now, maybe try to create I don't know, a space somewhere where you could do the breathing exercise that you did when you're having that fight or flight mode. And if you can start practicing self care, like walking, right? Walking, for me, shopping, but it's a bad thing. That's a bad thing. And learn the grounding techniques. Like, do you have any couple suggestions on what grounding techniques that you would do?
Yeah. And it really depends on the environment that somebody's in, because I'm aware of being trapped in a violent situation, and like you just can't say, "Excuse me, I'm just tapping out and going for a walk."
Yeah.
It's not it's not going to happen. But if you can even, I'll use the word premeditate. You know, write yourself a little survival pack of, okay, next time XYZ happens, I'm going to engage this process, even if I'm still present in the situation, and just go into my mind, and then just doing this process in my mind. So I'm still looking after myself, even though at the moment I can't control what's going on. And that is what I did a lot, especially as a child, is that I just had to go within, even while all of the abuse was going on. And it doesn't make the situation any easier or any lighter. But what it does, it allows you to just go to a safe place that only you know about
Yeah.
while that is going on. And like there's nothing, even in my nervous system, like I've done 40 years of work to just try and take all the layers off. And you can't push it down, like you said, because I pushed it down for a very long time. And you're a volcano just waiting to erupt. And I have erupted quite a few times. And when you lose control of yourself, it's you just don't want to be there. You
Mm-mm.
just don't want to have pushed yourself into that far of a corner that the only way out was to explode.
Yeah, and
Which
and
that is
and
dangerous
Jennifer
as
said,
well.
"I deleted my emotions for years." I
Yeah.
think we all do, right? Like
Yeah.
at some point or another, we just like, okay, there's more important things than yourself. Just go with the kids and go with the dogs and do this thing. Like the to-do list just keep going. And
Yeah.
Timothy said, "Shopping." Ha ha ha. I have a girlfriend who goes shopping and spent $100,000. She almost got divorced this close because, well, she said either gamble the money or shopping. So at least with shopping, I can get some purses. With gambling the money, it's zero coming home. And I was like, dude, how about not at all at 100,000? Like, how about like $50? I don't think the husband would see that really in the bank account, but 50,000, 500,000. Oh yeah, that's going to be a problem. And
Well, if
that's
I
also
had
a problem.
100K, I would buy a one-way airplane ticket and just go
Let's
live
go.
somewhere else.
Oh my gosh. Okay. So when I'm able, right now I can't travel because I'm allergic to travel. You have to have like all the shots, but I'm allergic to the COVID shots. I literally will start bleeding in my ears and my nose.
Ew.
CDC told me I was allergic to something after I was almost dying over here. But anyway, I can't travel. But for those of you who do want to travel, I next year, okay, I'm putting it out there in the world. Next year, I really want to have a retreat for women really close to my house, really beautiful place. I'm actually asking how much it is because I'm going to create a group or like, let's go, guys, just for a week, like just to recharge and in charge ourselves and just dump those emotions somewhere else, right? And then it's a beautiful city in San Diego. Hello, like come on, Jennifer, let's go. Bring Timothy, bring Timothy's wife, bring Lisa. I mean, everybody, come on in, right?
We'll
But
come
he's
over on Skippy Airplane.
I regularly watch your live shows, but I want to say something important about your YouTube channel. I am YouTube. Oh, this is something else. Now I've been that exploding
Yes,
volcano.
Jen,
Yeah,
it's not good. My
because we're
gosh, you're
pouring.
such a beautiful passive lady.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, big.
He says we can come to you. Oh my gosh, I was a passive aggressive volcano that blew up every 35 round. Yeah,
Oh, goodness me.
I actually I get violent and so I run away. So I to avoid that little eruption, I just run away because I get violent in that area. I'm like, okay, I just gotta go somewhere. It's not conducive to what I'm trying to do. And I think when you're younger, you can't control your emotions
Yeah,
because you don't know how. You don't have um any type of skills other than what you're feeling at the moment. And I
yeah,
think being present, right? Being present, what I've learned from my coach practitioner, I just took a CBT coach practitioner accreditation class and I've taken it 90 hours now for CBT for my own self, really. They basically said, you can't just run away every time there's a problem, but you can pause for a minute,
yeah.
right? You can pause. And like you said, take a deep breath and just take it in and see where it's going to be and being present and being self aware of where you're at. Like imagine blowing up at work, you'd be fired. I'm just saying, right? Now, before I go to the next question, somebody's asking me, like, you said a military background to a scientist and a mentor. Like, what is happening? So let's go back in your past. Like, I was shook too. And I'm like, military? Like, can you explain that, Lisa? Where are we going with the military and the scientist?
Yeah, for
Back to
sure.
that.
So, when I finished year 12, I was actually a runaway teenager because my mother was threatening me. She was going to kill me while I was sleeping. So I figured I needed to get the heck out of there. And I ended up going back. I went to a halfway house and I was very sick at the time. I also had anorexia nervosa because that was the only power I could have in my life was to starve myself. So, there's a whole nother chapter there of all those people with eating disorders is that's actually a power play for them because they're dying on the inside. But I went back home, the law enforcement was involved. I finished off my year 12 because I had enough sense that I better finish my school. And I didn't get into the university degree I wanted because I wanted to help people and I was athletic. I wanted to be a physiotherapist. And in our scoring system, I missed out by 4 points. And I just thought, God damn it.
Yeah.
I'm just going to go join the army. At least I can get away. So I did.
What an option.
Just had a random thought. No, it wasn't a random thought. I actually, my mother remarried a Vietnam vet and he came into my life. I was under the age of 10. I don't know how old. Interesting scenario. out of control, psychotic, violent woman in and out of psychiatric wards, to Vietnam veteran who lived with a loaded weapon at home and was an alcoholic. It was an interesting upbringing, but because he was ex-military, and I thought, well, I need to get as far away from this crazy as possible. I just thought, if I join the army, then it'll probably be, because I wasn't even 18, so I had to get signed in. And so I just piped up and said, hey, I want to join the army. And they went, oh, that's a great idea. And I said, well, yeah, there's the papers.
Yeah, I'm like,
I was like,
yeah.
And so on my 18th birthday, I'm driving to recruit training in a bus with 30 terrified girls.
Wow.
And for me, we got off the bus and they were already screaming at us. So what you see in these recruit training camps is real, like from your face, and they're yelling at you. And it was just like, yeah, is that all you got?
Yeah. I've done training for that for the last 18 years. Yeah.
I did SEAL training before I actually joined the army.
Yeah.
And so, I was in a different state, and for me, it was great because I got to meet other people that, it had a pretty hard time as well. It was sort of like a place that people went to just to try and
something new, something different.
new. Yeah. They could have been a troubled youth or whatever. So, but the interesting thing was, because my life was actually conditioned for suffering. I had systemic disease by that stage, a whole heap of autoimmune diseases. I'd already had a couple of operations for a particular condition, and 18 months into it, I had a very serious accident to my pelvis in training, and I was left lower limb disabled. So literally for the last 30 years, up until 5 years ago, because I'm the bionic woman now, I was unable to walk unassisted. So I was disabled on a walking stick. And so, the enormous pain with that. So they discharged me after 3 years, because you're no good to them if you can't do much.
Yeah.
You can't sort of go into active war area on crutches. It's not real smart.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I'm like, that's not gonna work. Yeah.
No, a bit hard to hold your weapon as well. So, but yeah, so when I was discharged, and I was a medic in the army, so once again, I went in to help people. It was in my being to help people. And so then I thought, well, what am I going to do now? Because I still want to help people. And so I decided to go to uni as a mature age student and become a medical scientist in diagnostic pathology, which meant that I was the white lab coat, looked down a microscope, diagnosed disease for doctors. I was mainly in oncology, bone marrow transplant, stem cell transplant unit. So I was surrounded by death. And for me, this was actually a really good, positive, grounding, Lisa, things aren't as bad as what they can be, with the people that, the patients that we were dealing with. And so my health just continued to fail. And by the age of 29, I'd had abdominal surgery 14 times. I had a hysterectomy at 29. I'd been on all sorts of hormone therapy, which was pretty horrific. And that left, I was just so sick that I had to resign from work because I could no longer get out of bed. And so that was what your first question of 20 years ago. Well, it was the whole train wreck.
Right. And that's why this question is perfect for that. Like, how do we develop resilience and bounce back from setbacks? I mean, hello, your entire story is about that. Like, I'm like, I was listening, like we rewind this and you replay, you're like, yeah, I was surrounded by death, but that was amazing. I'm thinking, wait, pause. Like, what did you just say? Did you hear what you just said? I'm like, what do you mean? But I think it's because you found your purpose and you actually were grateful, even though you're going through that, right? That's how I'm getting it.
Well, it also provided contrast for me because they were in life and death situations. I was just sick. There was big difference. Like I was very, very unwell, but I wasn't like, hey, you've got 3 months to live, you've got 6 months to live, that kind of thing. And by the way, I am very, very strong about, no matter what medical profession you're in, I don't think any human has the right to tell another human how long they're going to live, because this thing believes what you say. And the amount of people who have said, nah, you're wrong, that's not going to get me, and they have lived way beyond the diagnosis.
I
So,
I believe it. I had a student that had a brain cancer, and this was last summer. She said, "Yeah, I'm not supposed to live today. He told me 6 months ago I was supposed to die, but I'm back at school. But I
yes,
just want to let you know that there might be times because I'm going to chemo that I'm not coherent on my paper." And I'm like, "Girl, that's how calm you are. Let's go. I'm bringing you to graduation. Like
yeah,
that's me."
yeah,
Because you're right about the brain being like, that's why it's so powerful
yes,
for people to really think and be very careful on what you're trying to say and put in your head.
yes. And what we tell ourselves, because we're always listening. And to answer your question, um, right from the get go, when as a little girl living in fear every day of her life, deep down inside of me, there was a voice saying, Lisa, this isn't normal. One day you're going to be okay and not have to be here. And so that just was really the stepping stones of me being able to get from one day to the next to the next. I contemplated suicide a few times. And there was always, what went through my head was, you're not escaping yourself. You're trying to escape her, or you're trying to escape the situation. Because I wanted to live. I had a big purpose, but I didn't know how to solve that problem because I was so powerless in that situation. And one thing that there were two things that actually we didn't sort of cover, which were really part of also my backbone of resilience, was when I was 6, because my dad left when I was 4. When I was 6, I went to a swim squad because I decided I wanted to swim. And I was so blessed that in that squad we had national champions, world champions, and an Olympian. And so at this little girl was surrounded by big brothers and sisters who were strong-minded, who believed you could do anything. We did mind movies of running the race in our mind to win the race. And then, the body doesn't know the difference whether or not you're actually playing it in your mind or your body's physically doing that. You get all the same muscles firing and wiring, the sweat, the heart rate, all of this, all the neurotransmitters. And so that allowed me to become very, very powerful in what I understood because I became a national champion. I was one to thinking if I kept winning, I would actually win my mother's love, but it just
Mm.
wasn't going to work that way. And my swimming became her obsession, which meant I actually started to hate it because just of how her dynamics were, and her power plays. If she wasn't controlling it, she was destroying it basically. And that was the way she rolled. That I had to give up swimming because I had recurrent ear infections. And for the listeners on here, when you don't want to do something, your body starts to protest in some way. You will get a cold, you will twist your ankle, you will do something to stop you from doing that thing. That is part of our survival mechanism, and we don't even know that is happening, and that's why it's happening, because we're putting up this resistance. But I was invited to go to a martial arts club when I was 14, which was because I needed to be active. I needed to get out of house as well. But
Yep.
the beautiful thing was, first, I could learn how to defend myself in a pretty strategic way.
Yeah. Watch out now. Yeah.
Secondly, this was actually a metaphysical club, which meant this was part of practice of 3,000 years ago of learning how to use internal energy. The Chinese call it qi. I did
Yeah.
tai chi. I did meditation. This is a 14-year-old. And I learned how to channel this energy that was not common for 14-year-olds to get exposed to. So I felt really at home here. And I really learned a lot about my going within and listening to my inner self. And that's where I really forged the, Lisa, you are going to be able to do anything you put your mind to. And I as a young teenager, all that was going through my mind was, I want to help people and I want to help change the world, because nobody should have to live like this. And that was literally where,
The whole,
and that was just like the door open for me to go, hey, I'm going to achieve anything I want to. And it's a case of, I will, just watch me. And if you tell
yeah,
me I can't, hey, baby, that's just
I'm
fuel.
there. Yeah, that's me. And it's funny when you said that, like you do something so that your parents would love you. I do the same thing. But now I'm just keep going because I don't, at this point, I'm like, my mom don't like me, my dad don't like me. It's fine, whatever. Just keep going, CJ. This is it anyway. This is your career for the last something years, you know? I can't believe we only have 15 minutes left, but I want to get this out from you. How can we develop self-confidence and belief in our abilities?
It's a process, and I really believe in planting the seeds of hope. Everybody literally can turn this into a superpower.
Yeah.
No one doesn't have the ability, but it takes a long time to start chipping away at changing our belief system, because it's been it's run our life for as long as you've been alive. But it's about getting little wins. See, I treat anything as a currency of exchange of, for example, if, let's talk about health and wellness. If I drink my quota of water today, I've had a win. If I don't hit the snooze button 5 times, I've had a win. We try and set goals and create habits that are sometimes such big steps that we fail before we even start. And so it's building up the bank of little wins every single day. In the morning, I have a gratitude list, and that's actually been really overused and misconstrued by the people who are chanting particular things. But to be grateful for actually waking up and not being in pain, for me, is so important. To actually wake up not feeling scared is so important. To wake up in a bed is actually really important, because I was homeless for a while. To all these little things that I can just be so grateful for, and that I've got water coming out of my faucet, that I've got food in my fridge. We have to be grateful for these things, but we can certainly be eager for more. And so this
Yeah.
is all a part about building self-confidence. But at the end of the day, I've got this dinky little list. Oh, dinky is an Aussie word, by the way. It's just a slang word. It's not a swear word. It's just there we go. I've got
Jennifer and
my,
Timothy is going to tell me what that means right now, right, guys?
I've got a little book
Oh.
that I even draw pictures. This was this
Oh, wow.
morning.
Okay. I have a lot of those. I
Yeah.
have too many.
And
Yeah.
so I have okay, what went well today? So I've got my morning little, I'm so thankful that I'm not waking up in pain today.
Yeah.
My gratitude list. And I've got my bookend at the end of the day of what went well today. Well, hey, I actually planting the seeds of hope. Yes, Jen. That what went well today? Well, there wasn't a traffic jam like there was all week, and I got to work on time. Or I actually got to take 5 minutes out for myself even though it was in the toilet, but the kids were still at the toilet door. But hey, I
No,
had
my kids go to the toilet. Mom, are you done? I was like, oh my God, stop. I can't. My dog goes in there. I can't even have that piece. Okay. So when they're at school, I'm like, usually you're right about the pain, because when I get migraines, like yesterday and the day before that, I had migraines, and I get anxiety because I'm like, do I need to go to the emergency room migraines today? Because I usually go to the ER if it gets bad, and I get a shot of Toradol, and it's so bad for your liver. So I get anxiety, because I'm like, oh man, my liver is really cursing at me, and I wish that I'm like, yeah, my liver is bad because I drink too much. I don't even drink. Okay. And my liver is bad because of my medicine. And I'm like, oh man, I can't. So when I wake up and I'm like, ooh, there's no migraine today, because I could feel that. I'm like, yes. And then I just take, singing down, and my dog starts howling. I'm like, okay, I'm going to be quiet now. I'm not going to sing anymore. You know what I mean? Like, oh my God, they're not really loving that song, CJ. So then I do that. But I love what you said about, those small little wins, because I do that. I actually, when people say, hey, you don't sleep, I'm like, yeah, see, there's this thing called tools. And, I love technology, if you don't know it already. So what I do is I sit down for 3 or 4 hours to get all of my content, and I schedule them and blast them in different times. So it looks like I don't sleep at all, but it's there. I
yeah,
just block time, and some people don't like to block time and just go on. I can't, because my brain is structured. I'm very structured. And so that's how I can get my things done as if I'm like 20 million years old, and all of these things. It's because I get tools to do it, right?
yeah.
But this is my question for you. Because of this technology, maybe 100 years from now, if internet is still on, this will be forever etched for what you said, right?
Yeah.
And think about your great 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 grandkids, and they're like, ooh, how do you actually call grandma in Aussie? Is it just grandma?
Well, we have a couple of versions. I had a nana and pa, and I had
Okay.
a grandma and granddad. So it really depends on which side of the family and what they call them. But my nana and pop was my favorite because they were safe.
Ah, this
Yeah,
is it. You're going to be the great 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 grandma and said, what did you say? So this is my
yeah.
question. If today's your last day on this earth, what would be your message to your future families?
You can be anything and anyone you want to be, but as long as it's the truth, as long as it's the person that is deep inside of you, that is the shining light, the genius, the one who you are meant to be. And it doesn't matter what anybody else thinks. Let them make their, a lot of other people are telling everybody how they should be, how they should act, what they should do. And their own life is a train wreck. So don't judge people. Love people for who and what they are. Nurture them, and just live with unconditional love for everybody.
That's your last message. It's gonna stay there. Unless they take out my YouTube, but it will still be there. And I love asking that question because it's so interesting, and I reflect on that, and my brain keeps rolling. Like, my vision is to level up the world. My mission is to level up the world, but what I'm doing today. And sometimes I have to sit down and self-reflect, like, CJ, are you true to your mission? And I always try to incorporate in every aspect of my life in every day to do that, whether it's my community, my kids, myself. I always have to make sure that I live with example.
Yes.
And so, yes, I could be a hypocrite. Who's not? Let me tell you something. You know what I mean? Like, that's the truth. But so long as 80% of me to 90% of me try their best, because I could never be at 100% all the time, to make sure that we are there for not just, well, when I say the world, it's because there's specific people like Timothy. Trevor is here, Amber, Jennifer, all of
Yeah.
these people who are here, you're trying to hear what people have to say. Honestly, it has to come from your heart. It has to be who you are, because if you're living for somebody else and if you're living for other people, it will come out.
Yeah.
It will come out. If you're not consistent with your message, it will come out, right?
Yeah.
And you're also human, so you're going to make mistakes left and right. And the people who accepts you for all your flaws, not just your being that you're this person, but the person who basically accepts you for your flaws in and out is the people you're going to want to keep.
Yes,
And
for
the
sure.
people who wants to bail out anyway, it wasn't for you.
Yeah. Yeah. And we're not meant for everybody.
No, no. I
They
know people like,
select.
why do you have such an attitude? I'm like, I was born like this. I always have an attitude. And they're like, how much coffee do you drink? I'm like, no, I'm only allowed 2 to 3 cups maximum. Actually, 2 cups I prefer of coffee, because I start having migraines if it's too much. So I have to watch the caffeine for that. So
So
what
it's
I
called living on you're high on your own supply.
Yeah. And it's just like, I just love life, because there comes a time like everybody else where you think you're like, I'm not meant for this world anymore. I'm done. I'm checking out. Bye guys. Like, and then you think, I wonder if people will remember you. And I always ask my girls, I'm like, if I like just be gone today and I wake up, do you think people would miss me? And I ask that my kids, and my kids are like, Mom, I would miss you. That's a stupid question. That's what they said. I'm like, well, I'm being stupid today. I'm just saying, I always tell them that. And then my youngest really hate that question. She's like, you're so morbid. And I'm like, yeah. So when I die, if you find my body, make sure it's glitter pink coffin, glitter. I will come back if it's not. Okay. That's what I told them. They're like, Mom, I don't want to have this conversation. But sometimes you kind of have to look at things in your life. Like, what if this is my last day? What is your message out there?
Yeah.
What are
Yeah.
you sending? Right?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
And the day you start living in your truth it's like literally setting yourself free, and you're vulnerable, you're scared because people are going to challenge you on it, but a lot of people are literally not living their own truth as well, and therefore they've got to be using that as a weapon against you, and it's pretty nasty. But I don't see color, I don't see religion, I don't see gender, I just have this. The day my heart opened, and there was a specific day that happened, it was about 12 years ago. I just see a human who is just trying to live life and find their own inner peace and happiness. And that was exactly what my journey was. And now my purpose is to help people do the same.
Yeah, I went out for a bit there. I'm like, where did I go? I
Yeah,
went
when
out for a bit. But I know, and I'm like, we're still live. But I think what I really love about you is that I get to know you more. And I also, the people that probably engage with you now all the time on LinkedIn doesn't even know some of the nuances that you have shared with us. So I really want to thank you for giving us a glimpse of your story that you wanted to share the world.
Thank you.
Yeah, I appreciate you so much. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much as well. And thanks to the people who tuned in as well, and put some beautiful comments up. And let's all just go help level up the world together.
Yes, level up it is. Bye, guys.
Bye bye.